Hello, investors. This is Todd Thomas, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, November 25th. The time is 5:48 p.m. Coming to you from Boca Raton, Florida, to bring you the Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Well, starting with the trend gauge, we've made some positive changes on the leaders, as well as the short-term 21 and the 50-day moving average. All three of these were in red down trends or protect mode. But today we had a follow-through rally and we were able to get back above both the 50 and the 21-day moving averages on the 50 and the 21. So we've moved that up to a neutral with a green sub arrow, as well as the leaders back up to a neutral with a green sub arrow, as many leaders have been able to rebound fairly nicely on this rally. Overall, we're back in the market state of an uptrend as of today. And this is a third day follow through on tame economic numbers, as well as Bessent coming out and saying Kevin Hassett was the lead contender for Fed governor to replace Jerome Powell. And Hassett is known to be a dovish when it comes time to policy stance, and he's on the same page as Trump as bringing interest rates lower. So with the tame economic numbers today, as well as the news of Hassett, the bond market rallied for a fourth consecutive day, pushing the 10-year yields close to that 4% level. On the indexes today, the 21 over 21 was up 1.57% with 14 up, 1 sideways, and 6 down. The Turbo 12 was up 2.25% with 9 up, none flat, and 3 down. The Big 8, which is a Mag 7 plus Netflix, was up 0.4. So there was definitely some weakness in the Mag 7 today, which we'll go over. The RG8, the Revere Growth 8 Composite, was up 1.49, S&P up 0.91, Equal Weight up 1.42, Q's up 0.6, Q Equal Weights up 1.08, Dow up 1.43, and the big winners of the day were the mid caps up 1.83 and the Russell 2000 up 2.14, 60/40 up 0.63, GROTECTION up 0.5, and Turbo up 0.33. Let's look at the charts now of the indexes as well as the inter-asset correlation. Well, today we had looking at the intraday chart first, we had a relatively flat open, quickly went down right off the open and made a lows for the day at 66.60, and then pretty much rallied and trended up right into the close after a little bit of consolidation throughout the afternoon. We were able to come up to Thursday's highs here on the S&P, but were slightly rejected on the close. So positive development, we really want to see the S&P and the NASDAQ get through these highs of Thursday, which coincide with the highs back from 1010 as well of 67.64. So we're right about there. This is some pretty strong resistance, as well as that 8 and 21-day moving average, which crossed below the 50, but now the 21 after day is trending back in a positive direction. But today we did break above all these key moving averages on the short term. We overcame that 50, 21, and 8-day moving average, which is a positive development. RSP, extremely strong follow through right through that 50-day moving average today. And definitely a broad-based rally today, as breadth was 4-1 positive on the New York and 3-1 positive on the NASDAQ, and that reflected in the equal weight today as it outperformed the S&P. Q's up 0.62%, just slightly above all the averages today, weaker on the day because of weakness in NVIDIA on some news today, which we'll get into. But the Qs did have a strong day, but still below that Thursday high here of 613, 614 area. So we'll look for hopefully some follow through on the Qs. The Q equal weights still below the 50-day moving average, but right on that 21-day. The Dow also recovered all its key moving averages, and uh, it's been stronger than the other indexes. It is above Thursday's highs. Mid caps also extremely strong with the breadth in the market here on lower interest rates, right through that 50-day moving average. And the Russell 2000, the standout on the day, up 2.14%, right through that 50-day moving average. So very strong action throughout the day, pretty much gapped open. Had a brief sell-off, but then rallied right into the close here. So definitely very interest rate sensitive sector in the Russells and the mid caps. VIX back below 20, another positive development, down 7.71% at 18.56. Again, we prefer a VIX below the 20, so we certainly added exposure today on the reclaim of the major moving averages, as well as the VIX falling back below 20. The dollar index came off that 200-day moving average and closed at 99.80 after getting above that 100-day. So that's another potential benefit to stocks today. Gold, one of the few negative sectors, flat after a decent day yesterday, and the gold miners were also down 0.2%, just consolidating here. Silver, the only precious metal, up slightly on the day, up 0.9%. And Bitcoin down on the day, backing off after a strong bounce yesterday. We look at Bitcoin here and go back to the Monday post-Trump election when we had the big gap up on Bitcoin. We can see that those lows pretty much held support right around that level. The low on Monday, November, can't get my curse. Low was 46.53, low 46.68, so slightly higher than those lows from November. Bonds rallied strongly today, up 0.23 on the total bond market index. The TLT, which is the long-term bonds, were up 0.26%, back above that 50-day moving average. 30-year bond yields dropped 20 basis points to 4.6. I'm sorry, 20 basis points to 4.65. And the 10-year, that was down 3.6 basis points at 4.002. So getting back toward those October lows now, and that is definitely a tailwind for the interest rate sensitive and risk on areas of the market. MAGs closed at the highs of the day, up 0.72%. But if we get into some of the individual names, Apple tried to break out today, backed off, but definitely came out of this consolidation. Amazon got back through that 50-day moving average today. So that was a nice bounce off the 200-day and a 3-day rally there. Microsoft just kind of trying to get off this 200-day moving average. Meta, strong follow through here, up 3.78%. NVIDIA down 2.59% today. So incidentally, we started the day off with news that Meta is looking at Google's chips, their AI chips, and that sent NVIDIA into a lower low as it broke last Thursday's lows and Friday's lows. But then it was able to reverse off of that. So potentially bad news from NVIDIA, but probably overblown, but did hold up in this area here, and the support going back here. Let me redraw that line right around there from the August lows. Google continuing its breakout, up 1.53%, again benefiting from that news on Meta. And Netflix just living below the 200-day moving average. Nothing great about that chart. All right, so let's go to the tail of the tape. Back in an uptrend as of today from a mild correction. On the stochastics, all 6 stochastics are up now on the major indexes, as well as all 8 stochastics are now trending up for the RG8, Revere Growth 8 Composite. NASI still pointing down, dollar sideways, bonds in a consolidation. And here is a little bit of a warning sign after 3 strong up days. 87% of stocks in the S&P are above that 5-day moving average, and 79% are above that 5 on the NASDAQ 100. So we definitely get cautious when we see these trading around that 80 mark, as that indicates that stocks in the short term are definitely overbought. VIX today, 18.56 on the close. That was down about 9.65%. Fear and greed, CNN still in extreme fear at 16, but up a couple points off the lows. And then later on Thanksgiving days, we'll get the AAII and NAAIM. Bull case, initiate rally and trend greater than the 21-day. We're still operating under that bear case, which is a sustained break below the 21-day, which happened on the 13th. Simply because we have not had two positive closes above the 21-day moving average. So if tomorrow closes above that 21-day moving average, we will be back operating under the bull case. News on Tuesday, softer economic numbers, as well as Kevin Hassett as the Fed chair frontrunner leads to a 4-day bond rally and strong breadth in the market. Today's keys, S&P versus the 8, 21 and 50, which were all below that or above that on this S&P Qs, the Russell, and that also the VIX remaining below 20. Day count from up 2 to up 3, as well as now 1 day above that 8 and 1 day above that 21-day. Right now, S&P average true range, which we would like to see come down over the next coming days, actually went up to 1.39 today because of the extreme volatility, both down as well as back up here. So that is it overall. Basically, all but 3 S&P sectors were positive today. Bond prices up. Healthcare, consumer discretionary, material, staples, industrials were all strong today. Jets were extremely strong. We saw some breakouts also in the hotel areas today, as well as some strength in some of the travel stocks. Bond yields were down again. Dollar was down. The only down sectors in the S&P were the XLE, energy and utilities, gold, and Bitcoin. So very small number of items on the downside. GROTECTION today bought Light Menum, Nugget, and added to SSO. Currently at actually, this is incorrect. This should be, let me see real quickly. I apologize for that. Okay, GROTECTION's. GROTECTION is a 0.9. Revere risk adjusted beta, that should be 0.9. And balance at risk of 4.46%. Turbo today bought SSO, LQDA, Sienna, Nugget, and Coherent. Currently, their Revere volatility adjusted beta is 0.76, and their balance at risk is minus 3.93. Bottom line, strength in small and mid caps plus rate cut expectations fuel a day 3 bounce. Now let's get into the transactions for the day, as well as our 21 over 21. Going through the new ads for GROTECTION today. Light, very strong here. Again, leading stock in the optical area. At worst, sold off that 21-day moving average and had an extremely strong day today. An NUGT ad, again, just strengthened the gold stocks today, as well as SSO, since we reclaimed that 50 and 21-day moving average and getting our beta exposure up on the indexes through SSO. Turbo, also SSO, LQDA. This is a stock in the biotech area which broke out. Turbo bought this out of this pivot today. And what we like about this is the extreme earnings and sales growth coming up. So this one could potentially be a nice winner. Also took a position in Coherent, which is another optical stock, which was able to close tightly during the market pullback right along that 21-day moving average. Popped up yesterday and pulled back today. Apparently, there was news that Bain Capital or someone had 1.2 million shares for sale, so there was a little bit of weakness in that. So they did a block trade in that name. Going to the 21 over 21 list, sorted by strength. In the mortgage area, Rocket up 8.5%. Again, a very interest rate sensitive area, and this one followed through on extreme strength. ALB also has been very strong in the lithium area, following through today. Wayfair, which just held very tightly in the correction, undercut that gap up day, but compared to all other housing related stocks, Wayfair and the furniture and retail sales area have been holding up extremely well. Eli Lilly, huge follow through after the ants formation. Love, Southwest Airlines, follow through off the averages. Las Vegas Sands, new highs. CRS in the aerospace defense off that 21-day moving average. ISRG, after this nice earnings gap, pull back to the 21 and follow through here right around that 580 area, getting close to the highs of last week. Celestica, nice bounce off the 21-day moving average. Google, new highs. Caterpillar bouncing after pulling back and holding those averages. Teradyne, a bounce off the 50-day moving average intraday on Friday and follow through back above the short-term moving averages. And Sienna, bounce off that 50-day moving average, first test, and an opportunity to buy that bounce off the 50-day and up 0.79% today. Micron reclaims the 21-day moving average today. First Solar also held that 10-week 50-day moving average. GDX, EXE, and Insight, the few on the downside. Coherent talked about that. Light talked about that. And SanDisk also recovering from pretty nasty pullback, although extremely extended. Now going to the Turbo 12. LQDA, we went over, new turbo buy. SQM, this is another stock in the lithium area. They own several mines in Chile, and that is also trending nicely above that eight-day moving average along with ALB. Again, very strong earnings growth ahead here. Sphere Entertainment with new 52-week highs. Biotechs, again, continuing to follow through on the strength of healthcare. CommScope, this is a nice follow through also after yesterday's breakout to new 52-week highs and follow through today. Again, this is another optical stock. Tower Semiconductor, this is a name that's been holding up extremely well and held that 21-day moving average. Lemonade, also same thing. Global Star off that 21-day moving average. JFrog off that 21-day moving average as well. And DigitalOcean. Guardian Health down on the day after taking a little breather, and Grail reversal after hitting new intraday highs, but again, extended. So overall, extreme strength today in the IWM as we saw. Saw new highs in Hilton today. Not necessarily a stock that we would buy, but nice breakout there. Marriott today. These are areas you definitely want to see working and moving. Another area of strength were the home builders. Nail is the double home builders, and again, below all its key moving averages, but definitely strength off the bottom here as the interest rate situation is looking better for a December rate cut. Really, that's it. Very strong breath today. Very positive reaction in the broad market, and reclaim of the 50 and the 21-day moving averages, allowing us to increase exposure we'll be focusing on tomorrow for us to hold those key averages, and then we'll be able to upgrade the trend gauge. Thank you very much. If you'd like to contact us, again, my email is todd@revereasset.com. My Twitter handle is @toddmichael70. If you'd like to become a client, please give us a call at 855-REAL-WEALTH. Ask to speak with Don or Dan. And we appreciate likes and subscriptions to our X as well as YouTube channel where we post all our videos. Have a great night and a happy Thanksgiving, as tomorrow will be our last day before Thanksgiving Day.